Baby, come back. You can blame it all on me. I was wrong. I sent you the Marlin invite.
God, we're stupid.
What's this we shit?
I know. This is a team effort, okay?
Fair enough.
You didn't really work with the song, so we was the next best option. So there's that.
Oh my gosh. Whoops. I was trying so hard not to do that, man.
Jesus.
I was trying so hard not to do that.
If we lose Paulie because you sent him the wrong invite, I'm gonna go get a pack of Camels and never come back.
I will cry. Like,
I'm gonna take that 9-hour drive to Bozeman and be like, hey, can we just do it from your front porch together with my phone?
Right? Fuck. You had one job.
I had a lot of jobs.
Yeah, you do have a lot of jobs. I understand that. But this was an important job, which was sending the right invite. Tell him he's more than welcome to join the Marlin recap if he wants.
By all means.
Yeah, he's just got to catch up on this next episode before we do it on Saturday night.
Holy shit, there he is.
What's up?
All right, let's see. I should be connected now.
All right. Somebody say something.
You could...
All right. Not yet. Let's try that again. All right.
Right.
I got you guys now. I got you guys.
Oh, look at us doing our Verizon commercial now.
Right.
That's it. We're in here.
All right, Paulie. Well, hey, thank you so much for jumping on board with us. My name's Rick. This is my wife, Karina.
Hi.
And then we got Josh, who you've been talking back and forth with, I believe.
Are you guys related?
No.
Me and Josh, no. Just bald
same
and
facial
beard.
hair. Okay.
Yeah.
same facial hair.
I'm chubby and ugly, so it's an easy cover.
Wow.
No, dude, you're beautiful. I'm chubby
Josh,
and ugly.
Josh, he just called you chubby and ugly, dude.
That's what I did. Yeah, right?
Unbelievable.
I still love you, Josh. And then, dude, if you run out of time, just let us know and we'll cut it short.
Yeah. No, I mean, we'll keep it fun. If we could keep it before the 10:30 mark, I'd be forever grateful because I'll start to close. My eyes will literally start to shut as we're doing this.
Absolutely, yeah. No, we can.
Listen, but I don't know. Most people probably don't know this. I'm up at 5 a.m. every day. I'm usually asleep by like 8:30. So you guys get it.
Oh yeah, This is just a side thing for fun. I'm up at 5:30 at work by 6:30 till about 6 o'clock at night every night. So this is usually my wind down time.
And that's why I'm all about jumping on things like this because I support the side hustles. I'm all about side hustles.
Like we said, thank you for taking the time. We know how busy you guys are because not only are you guys entrepreneurs, but you guys also have, your own side gigs that you're constantly working on. So, hey, before you were on TV, anything like that, what was your goal? Like, what were you trying to accomplish? Were you in sports? Tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the only plan that I had was being a professional athlete, and I chased it with every ounce of my being. My career was like loaded with injuries. Somehow I still made it D1. Still managed to get drafted to the MLS, but just plagued injury after injury. And that's what ultimately ended my career. It's kind of like a blessing in disguise in a way, because I'm just that stubborn person that kind of plays through injuries. So it's almost like when my injuries happened, they were like bad injuries because it'd be like, I would have like a grade 1 or 2 tear in like a ligament. And I'd be like back in the old, mindset of like, oh, I'm just going to play through the injury because what is pain? Like that's weakness leaving the body and all that shit. And then when the ligament would get torn all the way through, I'd be like, nope, that was my body telling me I should probably not do that. And it's funny how the mindset of athletics have changed. And I have an exercise science degree and all that stuff. And like the emphasis on like rehab and prehab and taking breaks and rest time, like that stuff just didn't exist back in the day. And my body for sure is feeling it nowadays.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, I'd never reached any type of level like that. I played, high school sports, but it was the same kind of mentality. Like, you don't want to show any type of weakness. It's just, get on there, don't lose your spot. And I had a couple injuries I probably shouldn't have ignored, but you're 16 or 18 or 20 and you make some stupid decisions. And at the end of the day, it's just part of growing up, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, listen, concussions didn't exist when we were playing sports.
Exactly. Like, I talked to her about it, like, because our 8-year-old wants to be, he's like, I want to play football. We're like, you can play flag football. Like, there's no point in doing it at 8 years old.
Yeah.
When you're in high school and you can make a sound decision, we'll have a conversation. But until then, it's not worth doing.
Without a doubt. And I think a lot of people are going that route. Is like, my thing is with kids, and obviously I'm not a parent, and the way my parents were with me, my brother and sister, very old school, very like disciplined, no excuse mentality. And I think there's still a way to instill that without the running through a brick wall mindset. So it's almost like when people say work smarter, not harder, you can apply that to sports nowadays, as long as you tell them that participation trophies aren't cool. That's the one hard no that I got when it comes to sports. Do not tell 6th and 7th place kids that they're number one.
No, you tell them that as long as they gave their all, that's what matters.
So my dad threw out 2nd place trophies.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
I definitely need my son down here for this part. He played, he started off in hockey, and then he played football and basketball and baseball. And his baseball coach was like, damn, you're pretty good for a hockey player. But he ended up getting a concussion. And dude, that's the scariest thing for me. It was more scarier for me than it was him. But I stayed up with him all night and he was good. But that was all I was ever worried about, was a concussion for him.
The good thing about young kids is they'll bounce back from it. And as long as it's not consistent, I don't even want to say the amount of concussions that I've had, because who knows if this circulates. I don't need any medical professionals being like, he's not fit to compete. And then, I mean, like, listen, I have all these concussions. I'm like, oh, let me do bobsled, which has like the 2nd highest rate of CTE next to football. And then I'm like, yeah, fuck it. I guess I'll do a boxing match, like whatever. So don't let your kids turn out to be like me when it comes to sports.
So you played a lot of sports and, obviously that didn't work out the way that you had thought. So you go from that into reality TV. It seems like kind of a big jump. So how did you get interested in getting on reality TV? And was Big Brother the first show that you were interested in?
So I don't think people realize that there was like a giant gap between like athletics ending and reality TV starting. So I was maybe 22 when athletics ended, and then Big Brother, I was 27.
Wow.
If I remember correctly. So 5 years had gone by. I'd been living in Manhattan. I was working full time in Manhattan, 9 to 5, and then I was a promoter at nightclubs Thursday to Sunday, and then I worked as a personal trainer before my 9 to 5 and a Krav Maga instructor after my 9 to 5. And then on the weekends, I also emceed weddings, sweet 16s, and bar and bat mitzvahs.
Wow.
So, yeah. So for a good amount of my life, I'd say for 3 years of living in Manhattan, that was my life. I had gotten my brother started working for the entertainment company that I was working for on the weekends. That's how he got on Big Brother when he was 23. So I would have been 25. So that was my last year that I would have been living in Manhattan. I had no aspirations of going on reality TV. Like, Are You the One season 1 hit me up. And I didn't even know what the hell it was. All I knew is I was dating some Australian art director for 17 magazine. And she was like, if you go on that show, I'll cut your fucking balls off. And I was just like, I'm not saying like I was going out. I'm just saying I got the opportunity to go on it. I was like, but it doesn't sound like my cup of tea. I would never do a dating show. I was like, I don't want to do a dating show. I want to do a competition show.
Right.
Yeah, that relationship didn't last long anyway. But needless to say, I never expected to be on reality TV. When Cody got on, I actually I left Manhattan. I started my own soccer training company. I started my own entertainment company. And I was actually helping Big Brother with their casting when they would come to the East Coast. So in New York and in Philly and in New Jersey, I would set them up at the venues. I would bring the speakers. I would organize all of that stuff. And, you know, once again, because I was just like, you know what, like, I would love to just be like that behind the scenes person, you know, like I never expected to kind of get on. And one day I was in the middle of a candle lighting ceremony at a Sweet 16, and I'm getting like 10 phone calls from the casting director of Big Brother, you know, so I'm thinking there's like an emergency, because I had talked to them like 3 days prior, and they're like, cast is set, thank you so much. And I was like, all right, cool. And then they're like, hey, we're thinking about going a different direction. You want to go on? And like, my whole thing is all about like, you know, respect, regardless of what people may think out there, what you see on the show. It's always about respect. So my first thing was like, all right, let me talk to my brother. I want to make sure that, you know, he doesn't think that I'm trying to like, you know, step in, take any spotlight, do any of that stuff. And he was like, no, dude, like, go on. Just, you know, just don't let the competitive side come out. And I didn't know what that meant at the time, but now I know exactly what he meant by giving me that advice. If there's one way to sum up me when it comes to like whatever, and I'm pretty good at it now, like when it's outside of playing for money, which is what these shows are. But as a kid growing up, like I was always the one fucking pissed off if I lost, breaking shit. You know what I mean? Like, you know how it is. Like, you see these videos, people throwing controllers through a TV. Only video games weren't as popular when I was a kid. So, you know, just picture me punting a ball into a window or something. I don't know. But yeah, that's basically how I got on reality TV in a nutshell. I never really wanted to do it, you know, but then I did it, and I never really looked at it as reality TV. I just was like, oh, there's money at the end of this and I could try and win it. Like, sure. Like, let me do that. It's
an opportunity, right? Something new.
Yeah. I mean, I just like, listen, I completely understand where a lot of the OGs are coming from when they're like, things have changed. You know, people don't look at getting on reality TVs anymore, other than a way to get more followers and, you know, put on this persona. That is their persona. They come in with like preconceived things of what they're going to say, what they're going to do, what they're going to look for, regardless of what anybody says about me. Like, I never really, I don't even have the time or the care, you know, to do that. Like I really just authentically love competing, and I love trying to win. You know, and I could lose every fucking time, but the thrill of being able to like have the opportunity to win, like that's why you played sports, right? You didn't just quit after one season when you didn't win a championship. You figured it out. You got the excitement again in preseason, like, oh my God, this is going to be our year. And then you go in and you play the season, and maybe it's your year or not, right? But you never quit.
Yeah.
Well, and you know what? It's funny you bring that up, because it's very similar to the conversations we've had with Marlon and, you know, multiple other of our guests that have that athletic background. Is at the end of the day, it's really about the competition side. And even we've talked about the simple fact that, you know, if it came down to $1 million, like, we're husband and wife. She'll lie to me for that $1 million. You know, she'll buy me something nice, but she's going to lie to me for that $1 million.
I'll buy you something pretty when we get home.
So like, we get it. Like, you know, it's a competition. Like, it gets cutthroat. It is what it is. And like, I'm going to preface this, and I kind of wanted to get into this in the beginning. And I'm sorry, Josh, I'll let you get into this too, but I want to be upfront about this and say that, you know, I understand that who you are on TV is not who you are in person. That goes for a majority of people on TV, right? Like, you're two totally separate, different people to a degree. Now, your competitiveness comes out and all that, but I understand that some of it is to make good TV at the same time.
No, I disagree. Yeah. Okay. No, I actually dislike all the people that feel as though they need to put on the character, you know, for TV, because what you see on TV, and no matter what it is, like that's authentically me. Like, when you see me going ape shit on somebody, it's because I'm getting in their face, right? Like, when you see me talking shit, when you see me doing all that stuff, I'm full on in game mode, how I would be if I was playing against you in a game. If you ever played against me in a wrestling match, in a fight, in a soccer match, the physical component is one aspect, but the mental component is completely different. And I start chipping away at that thing right from the first whistle being blown, right? And I was always the kind of athlete, like, before the game, like, friendly, like, shaking hands, talking to, you know, my friends on the other team, you know, people on the other team, you know, at the weigh-ins, same stuff. As soon as the whistle blew, it was just like, chipping away. Even if it's like softening them up, like, hey, you know, how's it going? Do you have a good week? You know, who's here watching you in the thing? Boom, boom, boom. First tackle, hit. Oh, dude, it's going to be a long fucking game for you. Whew. Long game. And it's like, it's not no malicious intent behind it. It's just kind of like you're chipping away. Then they get pissed. They clip you. And you're just like, oh, dude, like, come on, man. Like, am I getting to you that much? You're not fast enough? Like, come on. You don't got to hit me like that. You know, so what people who say that they put on a persona for TV, like when you're in the interview rooms, yeah, like you need to bring it, right? You know, but as far as a persona, like these are not, I think that's part of the reason why the current season is having so much of an issue, because the lack of authenticity, and it's just coming across, even though it's not a scripted show, it's coming across as if it's scripted, you know, or at least that's my interpretation of it when I've watched it, right? So for me, I feel as though the natural drama and the natural, you know, authenticity of the show comes from people being real and authentically themselves. And that's just how I've always approached it. When I go in there, I just have studied personality types to a T, where the only thing I do is I observe people and I sit back and I watch and I say, all right, so this person fits into this type, this type, this type. There's only really 4 main types of personalities that people fit into. So once you figure that out, you know exactly what manipulates them, what maneuvers them, what makes them tick, what drives them insane, right? So that, I feel, if more people focused on that, it would be an authentic thing, right? Like when Cara and I, you know, were doing them, all everybody made fun of us for was, you know, the challenge is their life. All they do is train, eat, sleep, breathe the show. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, we're getting paid for this. Why don't you do the same thing? It didn't take me long to go back and watch every single season of the challenge when I knew I was getting casted, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, to be able to study every single person that I might go against, to see every single daily or elimination before I have to see there. And then I could look at it and be like, all right, I'm going to dissect this because it kind of looks like this from this season. And all right, this person's having this conversation with me. It seems like they're giving me the runaround the way they did on this season, you know, and it allows me to, you know, enforce like my level of strategy in politics. Now, obviously, all that depends on, are you feared as a competitor? Yes or no, right? All right. So I've never won. I'm okay with all the jokes. Like it comes with the fucking territory. But at the end of the day, when I'm there, it's very hard to outperform me in a daily. It's very hard to look at an elimination and be like, shit, is this the right one to throw Paulie into? You know what I mean? Like I haven't gotten any eliminations that go to my strengths, my grappling background, my agility, and any of that stuff. I've gotten puzzles and, you know, spinning around on a wheel and, you know, like things like that. Like it upsets me that I haven't really gotten to show that stuff. But if you watch the dailies, if I'm not finishing first place, I'm always finishing top 3 or 4 in anything. And that plays into leverage. And I don't think people understand how important it is to have that leverage in the game. So the natural aspect of the tensions in the game, like some of these people can't go a day without drinking alcohol. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. Nothing against people who do it, but I'm there to try and absolutely annihilate everybody mentally, physically, all that stuff. You got people in there that start losing their minds if they don't drink in a day. You got people that lose their minds if they're not getting cigarettes. You've got people that lose their minds if we don't get to go out to a bar. You know what I mean? Like I'm sitting there and I'm like, hey, if time goes on, these people are going to go crazy. Good TV is going to happen naturally when you add the component of pressure of that. A lot of people are afraid to go home and what their edit might be, right? I don't give a shit what my edit is. Like I fucking welcome whatever it is, because you're seeing exactly how I am if I'm in a competitive setting. If we're having a beer outside, whatever, sure. Like I don't shut down when I'm in the house. Even if I'm out at the bar and people are coming up to me thinking that they're getting information out of me, I'm giving away nothing and taking everything.
Makes sense. I mean, I think you're absolutely right on as far as the more competitiveness and more competitors that there are in the house that are there to really put forward to want to win the game, it creates a natural drama amongst the competition itself. Mm-hmm. And I do think that that was part of it in War of the Worlds. Like there were some real serious competitors there, including you and Cara and Jordan. And that bred a natural competition, including with Turbo and everyone else, so it makes sense to me what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you kind of set the tone when we first meet you on the challenge. You're like, I'm Paulie. If you like me, thank you. If you don't, fuck you. Well, I mean, you came out, those were the first words that came out of your mouth. You kind of set the tone to who you were and that you weren't going to back down. So we thank you for that moment. I just watched it again. So
I appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, it saddens me when I see things go out there, and it's not a lot of people, but there are some people being like, hey, it's a reality show first. It's like, you can't say it's a reality show first and praise the OGs in the same sentence, because back in the day, those people were very fit and athletic people. You know what I mean? Like when you watch like those old challenges, like everybody, whether they were like regular people or like coming from an athletic background, it at least looked like they all did athletics at some point in their life. And the argument of the fact that, back in the day, people were just genuinely more athletic versus the general population now also, could probably play into the fact, I'm pretty sure at all of our ages, we could probably still kick some 20 and, 20-year-olds asses in the sports that we play just because they're naturally softer, Yeah.
I think the competition level is not as fierce as it once was, and it's, me and Josh talk about this often because when we were growing up, it was don't show emotion. That's a sign of weakness. You go full tilt all the time. You never stop. Those are the kind of things that were installed in us. And I see that it's not now, but I see that there's a different emphasis being put on. And I don't want to put down any type of generational gaps because I feel like everybody does that. And that goes into a really big tangent on a long subject of different things that will eat up the whole amount of time talking to you about it. Because like I've got one question here and I know it'll take up the whole hour and I'm really trying to save it for towards the end just so I can get your clip on it.
Okay.
So I'm friends with Corey, kind of, sort of, we talk a lot, and him and Michaela came out and saw you, and you guys did hiking, and like your videos and pictures like made me tired. But who else from Big Brother do you still hang out with? Are you still friendly with most of the cast, or you just have a slight few?
So my relationship with reality TV people is limited. I do have people that I keep in touch with. Corey Brooks from my season, no matter what, he's always going to hold a special place in my heart. He's out in California doing his thing with his girlfriend. Cam, obviously, her and I have a special bond. We knew each other before reality TV, both from Jersey, both Scorpios, both went to Rutgers, so we have that.
Two peas in a pod right there.
Yeah. I mean, hey, listen, that's why she's the only one on War of the Worlds too that I went up to and I said, we got to figure this shit out. Like, you see what I'm seeing. Let's figure this shit out. Because nobody else saw what we saw. And it was crazy to me because I was like, hey, we're going to be in trouble if we don't start like pulling numbers ourselves. Because it seems like everybody on one side is pretty set that they're all going to work together. But anyway, Kaylee, she's always had my back with everything that has gone down. Whether it's stuff you've seen in the news and whatnot, she's always been a sound piece of advice. And the reason why I keep myself pretty distant from reality TV people is because I was not introduced into reality TV immediately, right? I got to live all my life doing what I did. I was a shy ass introvert, got bullied my whole life, but had a badass father that was basically like, if you get bullied, you better not come crying home. You better fight him right then and there, like on the spot. So I couldn't come home crying. I had to get my ass kicked until I learned how to not get my ass kicked. And then when that happened, then it's like multiple people kicking my ass. And then I had to learn how to beat multiple people's asses at the same time, which I think plays into what you see on TV where people are like, oh, he's just fucking angry all the time. I'm like, nah, I'm not really angry. It's just when I feel as though I'm getting bullied, I don't play victim. I just give it back to you until you want to fucking cry about it. You know what I mean? Like, so I keep myself distanced because I lived my life. I was an athlete. I lived that life. I lived in the real world for 5 years before entering reality TV. And when I entered reality TV, I quickly realized that a lot of these people, their emotional maturity is still back in high school. And I like to be mindful of my energy, and I don't like people who suck my energy from me. And I feel as though relationships formed throughout reality TV are probably the most inauthentic relationships that you can have, which is why I only have a few, and which is why most people, they know nothing about me, so they just spew whatever they think is going to stick. Because people only want to get close to you to learn what they can use against you in this world. So the further away I stay from everybody, they can't use anything against me. And if I ever play a game with them, I owe nobody nothing. So when these people get butthurt over moves that I make, I don't understand why they get upset. We're in a game. I owe you nothing. You're not my friends. You're not my family. I don't like you. I genuinely don't like these people. You know what I mean? So like, I'm not lying when I say that I don't like these people. I can't be fake around them. You know what I mean? Like they don't do it for me. Like I have my friends. I have my family. I love them. I love interacting, with people like y'all, anybody that I meet, and I'm blessed to meet, through this, making everybody laugh and dancing and like doing movie quotes and doing all that shit.
Yeah.
You don't see any of that stuff. Like I reenacted The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises in the Redemption House, my first season, because everybody was so bored. And I said, I have all the lines from both those movies memorized. You want me to just do it since we're bored?
Shit.
I could kill like 6 hours right now and did the whole thing.
God.
That's great.
And, and like little things, like people don't see the softer side, of me. Like when I do see people who are genuinely struggling in the house, because it's a lot, and even if I'm going against them, I'll pull them to the side and I'll be like, hey, listen, it's not that bad. Like it is what it is. Don't take it personal. Like it's just a game. You know what I mean? Like it's a game. Like I'm coming at you, but I don't want you to be hurt by that. Like fucking get some balls and fucking come in my face again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not come on my face, but come at my face.
Yeah, I've seen some of the comments that you posted to your Instagram. Ask me a question, and you just hit one of them.
My God.
Dude,
those
some of the
questions
shit you
are
get
out.
online, some of the shit, I'm just, it's a whole nother story.
To add on real quick, the challenge and talking about Big Brother, with the Big Brother Alliance right now, would you fit in there? And if you did, where would you fit in? Would that be able to work?
I don't know. I think I kind of pride myself on the fact that even though I came from Big Brother, I really don't think too much of the fandom considers me Big Brother. I don't think I fit into that mold of them. I kind of feel like I bleed more of a challenger through and through. The only thing I ever wanted, when I got on that, the call to that, and I, watched the seasons from 1, until it would have been Vendetta. I was supposed to go on Vendettas. I blew out my ankle, which is why they put me on X on the Beach. And then I came on Final Reckoning. So I'd watched all the seasons up until Dirty 30. And then I watched Vendettas after I came off X on the Beach. And I was like, man, like this show is really missing like that old school, like punch in the face. So I was like, hey, I'm just going to stay true to myself. And I loved that old school feel, like when people would fight and just be nasty and not give a fuck and win shit and talk shit and all that stuff. So that's all I cared about coming into it, so I don't think I would fit in. I don't think I'm considered Big Brother. I'd be interested to see like what Fessy and Casey are actually like in the game, playing it, because I could only really go by like who I know of them in person. But for me, anybody, once you enter that game, the fact that there's eliminations, if you're not as bold as you want to fucking be, like, you don't belong on the show. You know what I mean? Because ultimately you could say and do whatever the fuck you want, which is why I love it more than Survivor and Big Brother. Because if you're an asshole on Survivor and Big Brother, you just get voted off.
Yeah. Leading into kind of like what you're saying, I think you and specifically Devon, when you guys came on, even though you're Big Brother players, I think most of the fandom doesn't see you two as Big Brother players. They see you more of as challenge players.
Yeah.
Even though Devon's done, I believe, 3 seasons of Big Brother now, but and I did like the camaraderie that you guys did have, on the seasons that you guys were on together. I thought you guys worked really well together too. And it kind of leads into, with you having kind of the background that you do with, helping with some of the casting calls and before you were on the show, and being on the challenge and seeing the difference between the two. from what you've seen on Big Brother, do you think there's certain people on there that would make a really good impact on the challenge?
Are you talking about on Big Brother, like on the current seasons?
Yeah, like last couple seasons since you've been on, if you've caught any.
I haven't really watched, but I feel as though from a personality standpoint, Kyland and Tiffany from BB23.
Yeah, from the cookout. Yeah.
From a personality standpoint, like here's the thing is like I feel as though the challenge needs those personalities. Like, and I'm not talking, like it's one thing to have like the characters who are, there as fillers, but you just need some gritty. You need some gritty people.
You need substance.
You need gritty people. You need people. I think my biggest problem with the past 3 seasons, not that Total Madness and Double Agents, I thoroughly enjoyed them. I thoroughly enjoy watching the show, but the only thing that has gotten me is the kumbaya-ness. You know what I mean? And part of that could be because I wasn't welcomed in that way, and I didn't want to be welcomed in that way. But the whole thing where it's just kind of like going into the season, we're all friends. Moves happen and everybody's just like, no, it's okay. I get it. Thank you. Thank you. And then they come back from an elimination. It's like, oh, it's all good. I get it. I understand why you had to do it.
Yeah.
Like, even if you do understand, like, come back into the house and be like, fuck you, bitch. I'm coming after your head.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, please just do it. It's not that hard to just say fuck you to somebody that throws you into an elimination.
Look, like, and I think CT is like one of the few left, like, especially in the current season where like, if you ruffle him the wrong way, he'll turn up like that. But he's at a point in his career where I think he just
ruffles him.
It doesn't ruffle him, and he just wants to just lay low. Like there's no point in it for him.
I mean, when I did seasons with CT, I was like, this ain't the CT that I've watched. I'm like, this isn't the guy. Even that's why I had no problem carrying him on War of the Worlds too, because I'm just like, whatever. Like what's he gonna do? Like he might have been acting. I don't know. But he was not the same CT that I had known and been like, where's this animal? If Double Agents and Spies, Lies, and Allies CT showed up on any season that I'd be on and I saw him with the body like that, I would be like, nope.
Yeah. Get out, bye.
I'd be like, no. Hold on a second. You're not flying under the fucking radar this season.
No, God, no.
I've seen that body before, and I've seen what that body can do. Like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, you ain't no dad bod right now. You're coming in jaw chiseled,
Bro, yeah.
looking like a Calvin Klein model. Yeah. I'm like, no, thank you. Like, you.
Bro, and that's the thing is like, I think this, I don't know if you saw last week where they were doing that heights over the water where they were running across. Like he looked like he was fucking out for a walk. It was nothing to him. Everybody else is like struggling to get across, like going across it. And it's nothing. He's just, Sunday walk. I got this.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and he's like smacking the fucking boulders away. Whatever those things were, those moves.
Fucking throwing them at him.
But it goes back to, so like when you think about like characters, like staples of the show, and you look at like people who say, like we don't want to see athletes. Well, then why are all the favorites of the show like the more athletic people?
Exactly.
Why are the legends that everybody's like icons? Why are they the more athletic people?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like
nobody remembers third place.
Trust me. Unless they're talking about the times that I lose, because nobody has forgotten.
Yeah, I'll give you credit. Look, like, and I'm gonna put this out there right now. Like, I understand the War of the Worlds 2 incident. I mean, to be out there and talking to the cast that we have, and the final that it was that we didn't see the parts that we didn't, and you going out like you did, like, dude, I can't talk shit because I couldn't do that shit.
Hell no.
You know what I mean? And then on Final Reckoning, I mean, we've all talked about it. We thought, Natalie doesn't run the wrong direction. You guys win that final. It's not even close.
Easy. It's not even close at that point.
And that might cap off one of the greatest male rookie seasons. Cause I mean, the constant underdogs that year.
Man, that was an insane time. I mean, yeah, that one was sad. I don't know, like I think the War of the Worlds 1 ending kind of probably hurt me the most. I'd say War of the Worlds 1 and War of the Worlds 2 equally hurt me, just because I shouldn't have dove in head first with a fucking helmet on from like 30 feet in the air. That was dumb. So I'm very fortunate and blessed that I didn't break my neck.
Yeah, dude.
On that. But it is, that one hurt because like, Cara and I had like kind of come together, and like the only thing that I wanted that season was like make it, we had won all those dailies. We dominated the season physically. We didn't have to play politics. And I was just like, yeah, it'd be kind of sick to like run this final, get my first win, put a cherry on top of like probably what would have went down as one of the most dominant physical, seasons in the history. And then I would have been able to be like, all right, you know what? Like I feel good calling myself a champ, and being proud, like being like, you know what, like, hey, like we're dating, she ain't dating a scrub. You know what I'm saying? And so that one hurt there. And then the War of the Worlds 2-1, that one hurt just because that could have been one that we won together. And then it would have been like a cherry on top of like her getting a third win, me getting my first win. The only thing I could take away from it is, the fact that I actually finished the final. I'm like, all right, at least I know like my brain can like control my body. So now I just have to make sure that my body's prepped for anything, because I had prepped my body for strictly running. So I always go into the season heavy. And then by the end, I'm down to 150 pounds because it's just cardio. But now I've been training myself to be at 185 and be okay with that weight, just in case I ever make a final again. And they're like, it's a carrying final. You have to carry this heavy ass weight for all this, time.
Yeah.
Right.
People who understand exercise science, like time over tension, that's going to kill you almost more than like if you had to run. Because you could use kinetic energy when you're running because the momentum keeps you going. But when time over tension's coming and you're not moving, like I got obliterated, and ain't no way 150-pound me was fucking doing shit with that. But you live and learn. I thought I had put together like almost the best team that I could have in terms of people who could do puzzles, people who could do math, cardio, machines, and I figured when all was said and done, overall, we were a strong team that could carry their own weight, or at least, 50 pounds more of their weight. So if they had to give us weight vests and all that shit, I thought I had figured it all out. What I didn't calculate on War of the Worlds 2 was I didn't really have to be nice to people in my alliance who were on the other team closer towards the end. So I didn't have to worry about protecting Rogan and CT and D as much. I should have just been like, we're close enough to the end. Like, fuck it. But I was so hell bent on staying true to all my people, and I didn't need to be, but whatever.
That's the one thing I was talking to Rick about, is like Paulie's loyal. If nothing else, Paulie is loyal. He's stuck with everybody who he said he was going to go with. He went with.
Yep.
No, and that's the thing. It's like, look, Paulie, I think a lot of things could be said by different people if they want to, but one thing is that you're not unloyal. And I don't think I've ever heard you lie to someone. Like, if you're going to put them in, you tell them you're going to fucking put them in. You don't bullshit around the corner. And I appreciate that. Like, to be able to be that confident and put it out on Front Street and be okay with the blowback that may or may not happen because of your confidence. Yeah, I can really appreciate that. And I do think it's something that's missing on the challenge.
I really wish that, and now mind you, it's not my job, right? But like on War of the Worlds 2, there was a board where everybody's names were.
Yeah.
And the two teams had their names set up. And then whoever was going into elimination, their names would be in there. I play such a fucked up mental game, but I love it. I would take people's names and I would put them up on the board, like, so they knew. And like when they would walk by the board, and like the thing is, like, there was multiple people at a time, and I kind of knew when it was going to be a guy's day and a girl's day. So I would sit there and I would line up exactly the order in which everybody was going to go home. And I did that, like, I would say right when I knew that I had gotten into Idris's ear enough to throw Laurel in instead of Cara, I started doing that, and I put Laurel's name up, and that one I was just sitting there like praying, just being like, oh please God, like I hope she goes home, Because like once that happened, I was like,
Yeah.
if she goes home, the game's mine. Like, yeah, there's a couple loose ends that I got to tie up, but the game's going to be mine.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't know. I don't want to call all these people stupid, but they're not intelligent. You know, they're very obvious when they want to make moves and when they're trying to make moves. It's crazy to me. Like a 5-year-old could see one of their moves coming from like a million miles away. And I was actually, you know, shocked that it was so obvious in there. And I would do the same thing on War of the Worlds 1 before every daily. I would, before we'd leave to go to the daily, I would like come shooting out of my room. I'd be like, all right, everybody, so I'm about to win this. You guys could start politicking me on the bus. But at the end of the day, you're going into an elimination tomorrow. Good luck. And then we'd go on the bus. And I would just be like clapping, all this shit, like blah, blah, blah. And, you know, get there, fucking win the daily. Because I think on War of the Worlds 1, I won the first 4 in a row. So,
yeah, you guys killed it.
After that, it was already set in people's heads. Just because sometimes you got to go out there and you got to risk looking like an asshole. But if you pull off what you're doing in those situations in the game, it plays it like the ripple effect from it to other competitors. Like it sits in their mind and it explodes. You know what I mean? So it's like, while they sit there and they like pray, like, I really hope that he fucks up. I really hope that he dies. I really hope that he gets sent home. I'm sitting there being like, if I wear down their brains enough, they're going to like eventually just not think that they could even come close to beat me. That's why, you know, I had to give credit to Jordan on War of the Worlds too, because he just wouldn't break mentally. He just wouldn't. And like other people broke like way faster than he did. He never did.
You know what? I caught a little bit of Jordan's live because of all the bullshit that's going on right now online.
What's happening?
And when Jemmy started a Patreon to talk shit about Jordan and Tori's relationship and said half lies or
like
half
spread
truths.
a bunch of half.
And so Jordan and Tori had to stop everything they're fucking doing to go live to dismiss all this, you know, and
it was ridiculous.
It's fucking ridiculous. But someone asked him a question about Cara. And he's like, the rivalry between you and Cara. And honestly, I wasn't expecting the answer from Jordan, but he goes, I respect the rivalry we have. I like the rivalry we have because he feels, from what he said, is the rivalry is out of respect of competitiveness. Like, I know she's good. She knows I'm good. And we might not get along and we might butt heads, but we respect each other and we respect the rivalry. And it's interesting, you know, hearing you say what you're saying about him in War of the Worlds too.
Yeah. Well, you'll never hear any male competitors give me that kind of credit because everybody knows that has played with me that I'm extremely hard to beat. So like you may, you know, beat me in a final. You know, I may purge myself right before a final, but I mean, nobody is yet to step up to the plate and actually do the deed of sending me home. You know, like everybody can argue about Final Reckoning and the Redemption House, but hey, those were the cards that I was dealt.
Yeah.
If you could honestly look at the eliminations that I lost that season and say Paulie's fault, more power to you. But everybody knows that. And I think that's also where I get a little bit spicy online, is because I see these male veterans who gave me such a hard time, who never want to give me the credit of at least being like, yeah, that motherfucker's good. Like, he may not have won yet, but he's fucking good. And Jordan did one interview, and it was like before that, where he basically said, I'm a combination between Wes and Johnny, only an athlete version of it. He said, so the politics and the manipulation and the mind games combined are dangerous. But he's the only one, because after that, it becomes, in my opinion, what all these guys do is they want to hype up all the people that they know that they can beat. So that's why they'll credit some of these people where you're like, why the fuck is this person giving this person credit? Why are they giving this person credit in an interview? Why are they giving this person credit publicly? I mean, it's pretty easy. Who would you rather run a final against? The current male finalists without, you know, CT, of course, the current male finalists, or if you had to run a final against a Theo, a Turbo, a Paulie, a Jordan, like all these people, you know what I mean? You're not going to give credit to people who can beat you in a final. You're going to give credit to the people that you can beat in a final because you want people to think that when you beat them, you're accomplishing some crazy feat. You're not.
I've noticed that in gameplay. We've talked about it in previous recaps, which it's, you know, you watch the older seasons. Bananas he wasn't trying to take CT to a final. He was trying to take Jenny and, you know, whoever the fuck it was, you know, I'm not some guy who did one season, I'll never be back, you know, and because they were going in the, you know, not trying to test themselves, just to improve their, you know, their record. And I understand where you're coming from on that. I can see it.
And I'm sorry, it sucks that Jordan and Tori had to, you know, go and do that. I mean, like, listen, like, whatever, teach their own with that. I personally don't get involved on shit that's going down. I mean, and I think over the course of the past 3 seasons, I've had multiple opportunities to open my mouth on people who have not been kind to Cara or myself or our relationship. But no matter what, I feel like taking the high road in those situations is something that I would always do. Like, it's not cool to put people's personal lives on blast. No. And especially if you're not perfect, and if you've got skeletons in your closet, and if you've kept your mouth shut about other things that have gone on.
100%. Look,
we agree.
I won't pull any punches. I'm not a fan of Jemmy. Never been a fan of Jemmy. I've seen the shit that Jemmy said to you, which in my opinion is complete fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, and in my personal opinion, she does whatever she can do to try to stay relevant in the world because she can't do it competitively on the show. This kind
hey,
of
listen, man, you said it, not me. I don't need her freaking talking about me. Listen,
I'm a nobody. She ain't gonna waste her time on me.
If I even thank you, but if I even say her name, she's gonna do a fucking 10-minute tangent on it, like, and then somehow convince her. She somehow convinces her fans that it's the other person trying to remain relevant, not her.
Yeah.
No, dude, don't put your energy towards it. It's not worth it. But I do want to ask you this. Like, I understand you catching hate online because you are a polarizing figure. You really are, because there's not a lot like you, like you've said. I don't understand Cara's hate recently because she has been one of the most loved people on the show. And I don't really understand the hate that she gets recently.
Is she getting anything recently?
Not recently.
Listen, we don't really see things like I tell Cara before I'm about to drop a bomb where I'm like, hey, just so you know, this is about to go off. Like, and it's only on Twitter. And it's only like, you know, if I record podcasts or if I'm doing an interview, like, I just speak my mind and I'm just like, whatever. But Twitter makes nobody money. Not the most intelligent people live on Twitter. So, like, I literally go on there, just like literally like just drop fucking bombs and then just like leave, go back, stoke the flames a little bit and then like leave again. You know what I mean? Like, but I don't see any hate, coming Cara's way. Is there anything specific that you want me to address, or do you want me to just speak on it generally and what I think has gone on?
I want you, just in your general idea. I mean, because look, I think a majority of people that are commenting on your guys' post in a hateful way are fucking trolls. You know, I think that half the shit that me and some of the other people see on there is people just that are off the edge. More of just like a generalized kind of just what you think.
So growing up, my father always had something that he said to me. He said, if you're ever getting bullied by a group of people, he said, you find the strongest person in the group. He goes, you punch them right in the nose and you fucking jump on them until people pull you off. And you don't stop, no matter how bad you're getting beat up. And I never understood why he told me to do this, but I always listened to him. I always did it. And what I found is that by doing that, you then send a message to all the other followers of that person, not to fuck with you. But what you also send a message to is all the other people too afraid to speak up and defend themselves about that situation and about that person. So take that, fast forward it to now where social media is such a big platform. Bullies never get dealt with anymore. The only way that bullies are dealt with online is when momentum of what is considered a popular opinion, and when I say is considered a popular opinion, gets swayed, right?
Yeah.
So when you look at active people online, like you're thinking about like what, like 1%, maybe less of the people who actually watch the show. So let's take the challenge. Let's just call it 1 million, right? Just for easy math numbers, right? You could do the math. 1% of 1 million is still a lot of people if they're active.
Right.
Absolutely.
On a comment on this, right? The people on social media don't normally generally reflect people's true feelings and the feelings of the masses. What they're trying to reflect is what they think is the current popular opinion. And they want to be on board with the popular opinion. And then all the other people that don't agree with that, and take this and apply it wherever you want, they're afraid to jump in and give the other opinion because they are afraid of being attacked, even though they're being attacked by strangers that will never have anything to do with their lives. What I've found is that people like to demonize me a lot, mainly because I see them for what they are, and I don't back down from who they are. And I could care less about what they say about me. I'm not perfect. I don't claim to be perfect, but I do claim to be a better person than these people. And I can say that boldly because I know these people. And it takes a lot to give credit to somebody you don't like. But in athletics, you are humbled more often than you're not. And you always have to give credit to somebody or a team or something that you don't like. So I learned that at an early age that, hey, even if I don't like you, I'm not going to attack your character. I'm not going to make up lies about you. I'm not going to do these things. And when credit is due, I have to give you where credit's due. What I think has happened in a nutshell, Cara went through her challenge career getting bullied. These people bullied her. They were nasty to her. When she was in fucked up relationships, they gaslighted her. When her and I, what attracted her to me in the first place was my not give a fuck attitude and my fuck you, no matter what you're saying and trying to do to me attitude. I was the only person that stood up for her on Final Reckoning, and I was blown away because people who were there were supposed to be her brothers, not to name names, but like all the OG vets that were there, that are like, Cara's my sister. I watched them allow this girl to fucking basically be, I don't even need to go there, but and I didn't even know, like, I didn't even really know her other than, there, but I'm like, well, I can't be the only asshole that fucking is thinking this way. And then when I spoke up, I was like, oh shit, I am the only asshole that's thinking this way because everybody else is worried about their game more than somebody that they consider to be close to. So once she realized that, like, that's just who I am, and I'd be willing to fight the entire house for something that I believed in morally, that's when all of a sudden she was, and like, my conversation with her is always, know who you are. Like, you are you. And if anybody wants to make you not feel as though you are you, it's because you're up here and they want you to be down here so they could beat you at their own game. And then they want to try and step on you, right? I'm like, and I never met an athlete that talked shit to the worst fucking player on the field. Never did it. No. You always talk shit to the best players on the field because you want them beneath you. But the way they went about it with her for so many years was a very cruel, fucked up bullying type of way, right? Once she realized who the fuck she was and no longer put up with that bullshit, what's the first thing that happens to people who are technically, I mean, let's call them narcissistic, let's call them, abusive in a way. The first thing that they do is they try and tighten their grip on it, So like abusive relationships, as soon as the girl wants to stand up to the fucking guy, all of a sudden it's like, oh, you think you're going to stand up to me? Boom, back down. And when they tried to swat her back down, she fought back even harder. And that's not something that they were used to. But instead of being like, you know what? We were pieces of shit to her for her whole career. Hey, we get it. We're sorry. Respect. It's, no, I'm going to come at her character. And you want to know where she fucking got this from? That fucking guy. That guy, that piece of shit guy, the piece of shit guy from Big Brother, the piece of shit guy from the Challenge, the one who fucking, cheated on this girl, like blah, blah, blah. The character. They focused on the character. They spun their narrative. And that's what they're good at because they're not good at competing. And with that, they were able to sway, people who spew that shit online. Do I think that's what people truly believe? No. Do I think that people purposely just put out hate for engagement on our, based off of our names? For sure. In what world can a troll account comment on a tweet that I do or put a tweet out there about me and get hundreds of likes or sometimes thousands? Yeah. What other castmates can they do that with? You know what I mean? we are in the generation of instant gratification. So they're not saying things because they truly believe it. They're saying things because they want that instant gratification of the likes, the retweets. Just like you see these kids on TikToks, they do dumb shit just because they want the views, right?
Yeah.
People don't actually believe this stuff, and we don't pay attention to that stuff. Most T pages and most troll pages block people that support us because they literally only want the engagement to be, like-minded people who hate us. Right. You know what I mean? So like, me personally, I don't give a shit. If I have a large amount of the population that hates me and a large amount of the population that loves me, and Cara has the same thing, well, I'm sorry, but isn't that called capturing the whole audience?
Right.
It's part of being polarizing.
And isn't that what's needed on anything that you watch? You watch a show on Netflix that's not a reality TV show. If the person's not a good fucking character, you're not going to watch the show.
Right. Right.
So in my opinion, I think people's hate for Cara is just hypocritical, because it's like, what? Oh, you want to preach about strong women, you want to preach about independent women, but the second that a woman becomes strong and independent, all of a sudden she's a cunt. All of a sudden she's weak, and it's because of the man. You know what I mean? And like, why is that a bad thing? If like the woman gives the man good qualities and the man gives the woman good qualities, isn't that what relationships are? Trying to like make each other better and pull out the best in each other. People could say whatever the hell they want about me and Cara. Everybody knows that when you go into that house, there's 2 rules. All right. And the first rule is you don't disrespect Cara. And the second rule is you don't fucking disrespect Cara. Right. And those are my fucking rules. And I say that, I'm like, listen, you guys can fucking come at me as hard as you fucking want. I'll deal with that shit. The second you fucking come after my queen, you're dead. You're fucking dead. And I don't give a shit how much you beg afterwards. I don't care how much you say, oh, come on, let's work together now. No, I'm going to remember everything you say and everything you do. And when you beg, and they always beg, when they go into elimination after elimination, they always beg when I'm fucking going after their heads. You made the mistake. You fucked up. You don't come after my family. You don't come after my woman. You don't come after my businesses. Those are my only 3 rules in life. You fuck with my money. You fuck with my family. You fuck with my relationship. I'm going to fucking bury you. And that's just how I live my life. And I don't care to be friends with these castmates. I don't give a shit. And neither does she. And if they want to be nasty because we don't want to hang out with them, all right, fuck it. Don't give a shit. Still not going to hang out with you.
Right. No, I like it. And I'm actually glad you brought this up, because I was going to ask you, while we're kind of talking about you and Cara, the last time we saw you guys on the show was War of the Worlds 2, obviously, and you guys absolutely ran the house. You guys ran the whole game. It was really quite impressive. But we haven't seen you guys back on since then. So let's throw you guys in a hypothetical house. How long do you think it would be before you guys have the biggest target on your back? Like, is that an immediate thing, or how would you guys deal with that?
Well, here's a funny thing that nobody knows or haven't picked up on anything that I've done before. Any season that I've ever gone on, I always tweet out a hint of what I'm going to do on that season. And if you go back to like my tweets or whatever, like you'll know what I'm talking about. Like if I can remember War of the Worlds 1, before we went there, I put out like a cryptic tweet along the lines, that was going to say that I was going to dominate the game physically. And I did. And then before War of the Worlds 2, I put out a tweet, something along the lines of like Picasso, but my masterpiece isn't even going close to being finished yet, because I was going to show the strategic side of things and the politics, because I'm a very coachable person, and I like to be a good employee, if you will. So before going on any season, I would, talk to the producers and I'd be like, what more do you want to see out of me? What do you want to see? So after Final Reckoning, it was like, you need to prove to us that you are a competitor, because you spent the whole time in Redemption House. And I'm like, that's fair. Thank you. After that, the conversation was, all right, you showed us you could compete. Do you have strategy? Do you have politics? All right. Like, can you do that? Right. So my goal going into every season is to be the person with the target on their back right away. And my thing is, and that's why I've always been so shocked at the feedback, because it's not like I don't talk shit leading up into whatever season I'm going on to. Like any fan that's paying attention, I would sit there and I'd be like, this person's talking the most shit. If he is not the first person in elimination, then the other people are fucking assholes. You know, like you're an asshole. And I've almost gone into every season like how Spartans used to go into war of like hoping they would die. I've gone into every season hoping that like they would just pull the trigger on me first, so I could like just like fucking do what I do. And every time I've gone into a season, I'm just like sitting there, I'm like, it don't happen.
Yeah.
Like even after, like I was so shocked because I threw Johnny into the elimination on War of the Worlds too. He goes home.
Yeah.
We go on the bus, and you know, like Tori and Jordan like had said something like, "Oh, you know, Paulie, way to screw up the team," and I like was like, "Well, you aren't going to do shit about it, and nobody on this bus is frankly going to do shit about it." I'm like, "This is my fucking game now. So what are you going to do about it? Like, fuck you. You did this to Wes. Do something." And literally the next challenge we won, Jordan and Tori were in the tribunal, and I'm sitting there like, it's going to be me. Like,
right.
It's a hall brawl. We voted Baron, you know, or like I convinced UK to vote Baron, and I'm like, all right, are they going to throw me in? It's a hall brawl, like whatever.
Yeah.
They got two votes. Let's do it. Are you going to do it?
Right.
And then they don't do it. And these are the small little things that I wish, the small little nuances that I wish fans would pick up on, because why didn't they throw me down there? Well, because they knew I was going to fucking beat Bear in that elimination.
Oh yeah.
Like, come on. Like, listen, I wrestled against Jordan in the house. I fucking smoked the kid. There's only one person who I can honestly say I would fucking sit there and be like, fuck. And that's Turbo in elimination. Listen, I've been in fight camp with this guy. I have literally fought this guy and wrestled with him and done jujitsu. And I'm a pretty fucking sick ass martial artist. And this dude makes me look like a fucking preschooler.
Yeah, he's crazy.
I want to ask this hypothetical. You make the War of the Worlds one final over Wes, and it's you, Theo, Turbo in there. How do you think it ends?
You know, at that point in time, I was pretty fucking unbeatable. If I didn't fuck up that that last thing, I mean, shit. I mean, if like, listen, Turbo's there. If Turbo wasn't there, I was the first guy that finished the puzzle right after him. So Cara and I would have punched our tickets to the final together.
Yeah.
At that point in time, I don't know. I think the only advantage I would have had in that situation is just my cardio was on another level that season. You know, like it was on another level. Like it would have been a toss up between Turbo and I for that first and second place spot, but I guess we'll never know. But he's the real deal in every aspect of what that word means. The man has never seen an elimination, and I fear for whoever sees an elimination against him, because he thinks of things in a completely different way. And like I said, like he's fucking good. He's fucking good.
I mean, I think it's a well noticed thing too, because, you know, I mean, we haven't mentioned it, but we run a couple different Facebook groups, and that's how we kind of got the idea to do the podcast, was talking to some of the members. And majority of the times, and I'm going to ask you this question here in a little bit, but we start talking about Mount Rushmore. And there's not a lot of people that only do 1.5 seasons and make the Mount Rushmore, but Turbo does consistently.
Makes Mount Rushmore consistently with the fan base.
You know, and maybe it is because it's the hardest final, but I think there's something in him that people see and realize is different, like you said.
Yes, and that's why I go back to, you don't hear male castmates praising Turbo.
No.
You don't hear them praising me. You don't hear them praising Theo.
No.
You don't. In my opinion, Turbo, Theo, and myself, if given the opportunity to do 10 or 20 seasons like the Johnnies and the CTs and the Westes, if you give us three that same opportunity, people will look at what Johnny, West, and CT have done and been like, that was their era. That was the Johnny, West, and CT era of like domination and winning finals. And, you know, I mean, throw Jordan in there because he's won, fuck done. But you take us three and you give us 10, 20 seasons, you know, one of us is breaking the all-time record. And and the other two of us, it's going to be like a Sammy Sosa, Mark McGuire situation on like who's going to break the other guys' records. And then out of the three of us, who would actually take the final crown of whatever.
Right.
Absolutely. I mean, I think Turbo's always been in like another level of shape, but I think even seeing your evolution and getting in shape from getting ready for the Olympics with bobsled to, you know, playing soccer and seeing you slim down as much as you did for War of the Worlds too, but seeing where you're at now and how you said you're at about 185 and being able to carry that for endurance, and then seeing like the improvements that Theo's made and talking about when he was in the house, he was at the worst shape of his life, and to see, you know, what it would be like to see you guys all at your peak. I think it would be a hell of a fucking season. Okay.
It's interesting because athletics doesn't always translate to the challenge. And we've seen that with champs versus pros. We've seen that with, you know, other people who've played sports come on, which is why, you know, like if people really break down War of the Worlds 1, I had 7 daily wins. Theo had 7 daily wins. Turbo had 6 daily wins.
Yep.
Wes had 6 daily wins. Like people don't realize that like if Wes didn't win dailies, he wasn't making it to the end. All the other OGs went home early that season.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Cara and Wes are the only ones that made it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Cara won a shit ton of dailies also, right? Like that group of cast members was just on a different level. And I thought that with how popular that was, going into War of the Worlds 2, and then you sprinkle in a Jordan, slightly disappointed that it was a team format, because I think that another like individual or paired format would have just been insane with that level of talent on that season.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Like that's why those finals and those dailies on those 2 seasons were so fucking hard, because, you know, the showrunners knew we could fucking do crazy shit with these people. Like, motherfucker, we were jumping on tires on the back of a fucking monster truck, going fucking 35, 40 miles an hour. That's fucking cool. We're swinging across, passing rings on 2 18-wheelers that were going 60 miles an hour.
That was such a cool challenge.
Cool.
Like the challenges on War of the Worlds 1, I haven't seen challenges like that since. I haven't seen dailies like that since, right? You know, even the dailies on War of the Worlds 2, you know, they were awesome, but it was a team format, right? But those 2 finals on War of the Worlds 1 and War of the Worlds 2, I've watched the past 2 finals, and I'm like, I mean, shit, I fucking would have loved to have been in the cold and had it be that short. Like, motherfucker, I got heat stroke, and then TJ was like, and so we still got a whole nother day, and you guys are going to be chained together, and you guys got to run 2 laps around this island that is 6 miles for a total of 12 miles. So I'm like, I just had heat stroke the day before. Thankfully, my body like fucking like went into survival mode. I'm like, and now I got to run a fucking half marathon with chains.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck. I'm like, all right. Like, I mean, it was a humbling experience for me, because I'm like, shit. I mean, like I was 100% ready for the War of the Worlds 1 final. I know that within my heart. War of the Worlds 2, I'll even admit it afterwards that, like, you know, I mainly had to keep up the confidence for my team, but I knew I wasn't in the same kind of shape on War of the Worlds 2 that I was on War of the Worlds 1, because I was doing so much fucking running around and it was so stressful. And I was the only one like fucking putting the pieces in place. It was a lot. And I drifted away from running because that Thai heat was fucking brutal.
Oh God,
Dude,
I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
No.
100% humidity, 100 degrees out. I couldn't imagine running in that shit.
No.
Heat and humidity like that benefits. Like if I was smarter, I would have just bulked the whole season. I would have just bulked the whole season and just kind of like ran a very slow pace, but just bulked. I would have put on a lot of fat, because that would have helped me in the final, because the fat would have helped save me from everything that was going
energy,
on. It just would have gave me everything to burn.
Yeah.
So like, it would have been all right. But you know, it is what it is. I don't know. I'm ready, you know, for whatever there is at this point. I kind of feel like I've tweaked any time I've been on, and I think this time away, even though I don't don't fully agree with the circumstances and how it happened. It's been a blessing. It's been a blessing for me to kind of see things from a different scope, know my role in my head of like, all right, you've done X, Y, Z, try and do this time around. See what you can do in this realm. So I would 100% make myself a target immediately.
We're here for it.
So we kind of brushed on this, and I want to get your opinion because we ask every single person that comes on this question, and I want to hear your take on it. So we ask them, what is their Mount Rushmore for the 4 males? I think you've pretty much given us 3 of them with Turbo, Theo. You gonna put yourself on that list?
No. I'm not even gonna. I mean, like, listen, I can't even put Theo on it because Theo hasn't won. I'm just saying,
given the opportunity
later, given the opportunity.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You know, if I had to pick right now, I would go Turbo. I would go Darrell.
Oh yeah.
I would go Jordan, and I would go. I mean,
it's a toss up. You want to do that 5, right?
Well, it's kind of a toss up because, you know, like it's like CT's obviously on the Mount Rushmore, right? But it's like you can't not put Johnny on the Mount Rushmore with 7, you know, regardless of what people say about team wins and all that shit. Like,
right.
Yeah.
They're still wins. Yeah.
It's still 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 7
It's
rings.
like, exactly. So like, you know, you can't not put him on. If I had to take somebody down, I would have to take Jordan down, you know, and just keep it with the 2 OGs or the 3 OGs in there, and then have Turbo in there because, you know, it's if Turbo, Theo, and I hadn't been on like these past 3 seasons, I mean, like we would have been passing back and forth championships, in my opinion, you know, and Turbo would have at least gotten 1 or 2 more.
I think that's a fair assumption. I mean, look, the Total Madness, Jenny smoked everybody in that fucking field. Everybody.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it's a joke in a whole nother story that she hasn't been back on, in my opinion.
Ridiculous.
The double agents one, I think you keep it a lot closer than Leroy does against CT. I mean, in that situation, you know, give you a 50-50 shot. I mean, look, we talk about with CT in eliminations is you got a 50-50 shot against him. In finals, you got a 10% shot against him getting in the final, right? But if you're at the right athletic ability and you know what you're doing and you've got experience running finals, that obviously improves your odds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because experience reigns key. So I think, you know, you having that list is a pretty solid list. But what about your Mount Rushmore for women, top 4?
Yeah, obviously Cara.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I would have to say, even though I absolutely can't stand, I detest this human, but she is good. Laurel.
Mm-hmm.
See, that goes back to not liking somebody but giving them credit. I like that.
There you go.
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, and trust me, I absolutely detest, and I don't use that word often, but I detest her, and I didn't think I would, you know, because like when she came on the team, I was like, she's a beast. And when other dudes would yell at her on War of the Worlds 2, I would tell them to shut the fuck up. And she witnessed that. So for me, when she came off and she just ran with the narrative of the people that didn't like me, just because I got her thrown into an elimination and she lost, I was just like, you kind of suck, but you're a good ass fucking competitor.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's a fair comparison.
Fair.
So I would put her on there. If I had to put in like a newer school person, I would put Jenny in there, just kind of keep it consistent. And then I mean, when you look at like good competitors, there's some people who only got like one win, but I mean, I feel like on the female field of things, like having 2 wins is a lot. Having 3 wins, like Veronica's like the only girl that has 3 wins, right? And those were all team seasons.
Evelyn also has 3.
Evelyn's, yeah, because I was going to say Evelyn would have been my last one. But I kind of, once again, I also feel like if Cook came back as a consistent competitor,
oh my gosh,
she would have multiple championships.
Yes.
Agreed.
Absolutely. 100%.
So,
I think Cara and Cook have a little bit more experience running rivals too. They beat Paula and Emily S.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know Emily S has a lot of fans, and she's a hell of an athlete and a hell of a competitor, but Cara's proven over the years that she is one of the best athletes, and I think Cook, given the opportunity, would prove that as well.
Without a doubt. I mean, I'm pretty sure like Cook was a high level soccer player also.
Yeah, she was. Yeah,
she was. Yeah.
And the thing about Cara that most people don't know is, and I think she gets it from her father, because this motherfucker wakes up at like 5 a.m. and starts building and doesn't stop building until like 7 p.m. And it's just like methodical. Like we showed up at his house like over the summer. He's like, hey, I built a racetrack. And we're like, where'd you build a racetrack? And he just goes, oh, it's in the backyard. The dude built a fucking 1/4-mile racetrack just for his go-karts to like fucking zip around in his backyard.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah, and he's just, he's old Sicilian, so like he's just got like, so she, like me to operate at the level that I operate on, I am getting like the full treatment from like chiropractors and fucking acupuncturists and like everything. Like, and I don't want to like jinx her, but she doesn't get injured. She's like a bowling ball. You know what I mean? Like she never gets sick. This past week was the first time I've ever seen her sick in my life.
Wow.
Ever. It's crazy. Like when we would travel, I always get sick. I just get sick.
Yeah.
Like it's just me. Never get sick. And like never has anything ailing her. She, I don't want to say her age or anything. She might be listening, but everybody knows her age. Okay. But like doesn't have to go to the chiropractor, doesn't have to get any of the shit that I get. She's always just sitting there being like, you always got something wrong with you. And I'm like, yeah.
Look, I'm not gonna lie, at some point I was hoping we were gonna get blessed, like she'd walk by you would hit her with the Cara dance, right? I'm gonna be honest, those are like the classic fucking videos of you guys. I love my God, so much.
See that, and like that's that, like we let little spurts of what we are out.
Your TikToks though, come on, those are hilarious. I love them.
They're golden.
Yeah, I feel like like TikTok. I'm like, what? Like, let's just fucking be funny. Like, I let's just do what makes us laugh and see what happens.
I like it. I like it a lot. Because we get like you said, we get that competitive side of you guys on the show. Your guys' IG and stuff is very kind of business oriented with your Tenniscape and just all that stuff. And then we get TikTok where we get that fun, silly, goofy side of you guys, and it's kind of cool because we get. If you're following you guys on all these different platforms, all these different things, you kind of get that full encompassing view, or at least a more full view of what you guys are really like. And I like that you guys do that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Cara's not on Twitter. I mean, and if people only follow me on Twitter, then like I only have a Twitter, and Cara's like, delete your fucking Twitter. And I'm like, Cara.
Yeah.
I was like, listen, I said, when it's finally all done for us, I said, I'll delete the Twitter. I said, because I only go on there to fucking troll challenge fans. I'm like, and
good fucking job, dude.
Yeah, and to piss off, current and former castmates, because listen, I've watched these people have people dog them in their interviews and laugh at them in their interviews and make fun of them and all that stuff. And like, kumbaya online. All I have to say is, I think these people are weak. And the whole world melts down. And I'm like, look, if you guys kept that same energy with each other, we wouldn't be in this situation.
Yeah. Right. Look, I'm gonna be honest. So I would pay money to see you go against some of the other OGs, not necessarily like, like Ace after he blew out his back after one pole wrestle, but like against like, Darrell and,
like Mark
because I think
he's so fun.
That's what every fan wants to see, right? They want to see those big name matchups. Like all anyone talked about was CT and Fessy. Like, let's see the Hall Brawl. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's what the fans want.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
And I remember, watching, when my dad would have it on back in the day, and like you didn't watch it to see like the tiptoe, like you watched just kind of be like, when are they gonna clip each other? Or when is the house gonna be like, these two should go against each other? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How can people get excited if every single elimination there's one layup in it?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
how can you get excited watching the dailies where 95% of the people have 2 left feet? I understand the aspect of like, you want to see regular people doing this shit, but like, there's a lot of coordinated regular people. Like, there's a
Right.
lot of beasts. Like, you go to the Montana CrossFit gym that Cara trains at, there's fucking monsters there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I bet.
And, like, Montana people are just like built different. I'm like sitting here, like, we're 2 East Coasters, like out here. These people are like mountain bred. I get lapped on
Yeah.
mountains by like 50 and 60-year-olds. Just like, oh, is this your first hike of the day? This is my third. And I'm just like, fuck you, old man. Like, just carry on. Like, what are you doing? So it's like, there's a ton of people that I know for a fact would make great TV. Just because they're competitive, they fucking take no shit, and they're coordinators. Fuck, nobody wants to see assholes do challenges and fucking layups and eliminations. Nobody wants to see that shit.
You talked a little bit online with your brother on Twitch and on Instagram Live about if there was going to be another Bloodlines, would he do it? You picked up your phone and mouthed a certain word to him when you didn't like his answer. So is he going to do another Bloodlines? Are you going to be able to talk him in, or is he going to continue to be a pussy about it?
Oh gosh.
Dude, here's the thing.
That was his word, not mine.
I don't know. It's an interesting situation that he's in, right?
Gotcha.
He basically goes down as like the GOAT of Big Brother.
Yeah, he's up there. He definitely is.
Yes, he is.
He knows if he's my partner, the heat's on us.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, if push came to shove and I was like, dude, fucking kidding me? Not going to do this?
Yeah.
Like, who do you want me to take? Fucking cousin Krager? Get the fuck out of here. I'm not taking Krager. You know what I mean?
Look, I think
in
my
he would say yes,
opinion,
but I think he would be a pussy about it at first. I think he'd be like, listen, bitch, shut the fuck up. Let's go.
I think, dude, honestly, Cody's was great on Big Brother both seasons. I think he'd be better on the challenge.
Oh,
I think so too. He was also a Division I athlete and a professional athlete. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His thing is, he's just like, Paulie, I don't like the chaos as much as you do. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, he likes, he likes to be chilling. Like, he's not the altercation kind of guy. Now that he can hold his own, the motherfucker can fight. I know this.
Right.
But he's not going to go in there looking to cause chaos on people.
Mhm.
Like, he wants it to be chill until he's got to make a decision. He wants it to be chill until somebody starts talking shit to him. Whereas I would like kind of welcome that. And he would just kind of be like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I'm just trying to sleep tonight.
well, see, and that's why a Bloodlines would be perfect, because you could handle all the chaos and all the shit, and he could just go take a nap in the back room.
We are 2 opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to the personality there. So it would definitely be an interesting dynamic. It would be more so of him kind of being like, what the fuck? And me kind of like making it like doing something like fucked up, and then just be like, dude, that was fucking funny, right? And be like, no, it was not funny. It was not funny to do that.
Dude, so we have 3 sons. So like hearing this, it's like kind of an intro into our lives. You know what I mean?
We were terrors growing up, like terrors.
Oh yeah.
You know, so good luck, 3 sons.
But
Thank you. We're gonna need it.
But the competition side, though, like you 2 together on a team.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would matter that people would come after you guys, because you guys would just absolutely murder. I can't think of really anything that you guys wouldn't absolutely murder almost everybody else at.
Yeah, you know, we have a yin and yang. You know, we were very blessed to play soccer with each other in high school, and if some piece of shit coach in college didn't fuck it up, we would have been playing in college as well. But our dynamic was for being 2 years apart, we almost had like brains like identical twins. Like he didn't have to call for the ball. I knew where he was going to be.
Yeah.
Same thing. You know what I mean? He played offense, I played defense, and it was just a feeder. You know,
Right.
I'd win the ball right to him, he'd score. You know what I mean? I would love to share a stage, you know, with him again somewhere. You know, like as much as people want to talk shit, like, you know, I kind of feel like the Calafiore name is a household name in reality TV. And, you know, I think that there's a lot a lot left on the table with us, you know. And plus, I cannot bear the thought of having kids, him having kids, and him fucking saying at Thanksgiving and Christmas, yeah, I won this, but Paulie never won shit. I would fucking, there are very few things in the world, but like I sit here and I'm like, listen, I have to win. Next time I'm gonna have to fucking win, because I'm not gonna sit there later in life. I can't sit there and like at a family table just be like, yeah, well, mom won something, Uncle Cody won something, and dipshit fucking dad didn't win nothing. You know what I mean? Like, it was fucking, you know, hey, everybody, let's relive the times that we all won something. And it's like, you play cars, fucking shit. You play cars, shit. And then it's like, well, what about you, Dad? And it's like, well, Daddy didn't win anything. And it's like, and then they're just like, oh, I can't do it. I'm too competitive with Cody. We're too fucking competitive. His team beat me in college, even though my team made the NCAA tournament and went way further. I'll never live it down that he fucking beat me. Never live it down.
Oh yeah. So, all right, I'm going to hit, this is going to be a hard question. At least I think it is, but I want to hear your answer. Who's the better host, TJ or Julie Chen?
Oh,
shit. I think they both fit their shows perfectly.
I agree.
With
because we talked about that.
Answer.
They couldn't do each other, the opposite show.
Yeah, if you flipped them, it wouldn't work. No.
Yeah, they both do their shows perfectly. I mean, I had the same feeling when I met both of them.
All right, awesome.
That's fair. Yeah, that's really fair. Yeah. That's fair.
With that being said, you've done BB, you've done the challenge. Would you ever think about doing like another reality show like Amazing Race or Survivor or something like that?
I don't want to do any shows where you can get voted out, you know, unless the only way I would do it is if I knew like going in there, like I was just going in there just to fucking be on vacation, essentially.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like a relationship building experiment.
Right.
Yeah, like something like that, just to see if like I could do this whole likable social game thing, but like I get
Amazing Race might be it, because you could be like, you don't have to work on teams, there's no politics, it's like, fuck you, this is my cab, I'm taking it.
That's a fair point. Could do that. Yeah. And listen, there are other rules in other countries, so you technically could punch somebody in the face to get a cab.
Yeah, exactly.
That really shake things up.
I love it.
Start bringing in eliminations real quick in the Amazing Race.
Listen, it's not considered an assault in Croatia punching somebody in the face for a cab, so you can't apply New York's rules.
Exactly.
I love it. Now that we've kind of gotten through everything, I'm curious. You've spent a lot of time on TV through Big Brother, The Challenge. When all of that is said and done, what do you want your legacy on The Challenge and Big Brother to represent? What do you want people to think about when they think about your time on reality TV?
I almost want it to be two pieces. One, artistic in nature. So you know how throughout the years people interpret art in different ways. So I want it to be artistic in nature, that when people go back and they rewatch Big Brother 18 and they rewatch X on the Beach and they rewatch all the challenges that I've been on, they can sit there and they can look at it through a different lens and just be like, wow, I actually missed this the first time I watched it around because I was in this place and because this is what was going on in my life and in the world, and this is what I attributed it to, and blah, 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 blah. And, you know, and the second one is, you know, I listen, I want to chase things, and I want the legacy to be the conversation that everybody has till this day between LeBron, Kobe, and Jordan. And now they're even throwing Stephon Curry into the mix, right?
Yeah.
I want there to be a constant revolving door of like, who is the greatest of all time? My checklist, as I've been doing the challenges, and, you know, the only thing that truly hurts me being off these past, you know, 3 seasons, and now granted, you know, I was able to be training for the Olympics, so that kept me busy, is that I set a goal when I went in and I said, by the time I'm done, I want to have the most daily wins. I want to have the most elimination wins. I want to have the most final appearances and the most final wins ever. You know, I'm sitting at like 20 now, so I'm about like 40 away from, I think, the most, which I think either Johnny or CT have. They're either up in the 50s or in the 60s. Mm-hmm. You know, eliminations, I think Wes or Derek hold that title of wins for the men, at least. I know Cara holds it for the women, and I think of all time. But I'm like 10 or 11 away from that. I'm 7 finals away from the most appearances, and then at this point in time, 7 wins away from the most wins.
Right.
And I don't think it's out of the question, even though I've aged 2 years since you last saw me on TV. I still think looking at how Johnny, CT, and Wes are, and even Mark Long and all those guys are still going, it's not crazy to think that I can't do it later in life and still pull off wins, So I would like to be able to get those daily and elimination wins before I have to switch my game up to be more of a, CT style game of like kind of laying under the radar,
right?
And just making it to a final where you could Tom Brady that shit.
Right.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So that's where I want to see it. I want people to look back on it and be like, man, did I really actually hate him because he was a piece of shit? Or like, did I hate him just because of what the fucking current climate at the time was and how castmates painted him?
Right.
I think in the 3 seasons that I've been off, a lot of castmates that have painted Cara and I a certain way have exposed themselves for being trash. So they've thrown away their credibility that they were able to hide behind when the focus point was us. Same thing with my season of Big Brother. A lot of people who were, loved on my season have shown themselves to be pieces of shit and assholes.
Right.
I've stayed true to myself. I've never said that when I compete, I'm nice to people. I'm like, listen, I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
Male, female, gay, straight, black, white, I don't give a fuck. I'm there to compete. I'm not going to fucking treat you differently just because of anything other than there's money at the end of the tunnel. If on the challenge, sometimes only men win one and women win the other, cool. Then, hey, ladies, we're cool. I don't got to worry about shit with you. Yeah. I will pamper you. I will fucking bring you guys food. I will bring you guys water. I don't give a shit. But if it's a fucking individual season and y'all are on that same block, hey, like don't fucking be like, hey, why are you being so mean to me? I'm a woman. Be like, hey, we going after the same money? Because
exactly,
I got fucking mouth to feed. So that's what I hope. I hope that the lenses could be, shifted when tons of other things aren't like, going on with like castmates always trying to like fucking make it about people's character and all that shit. It's like, listen, it's a competition reality show, people.
Right.
Like, let's chill. Like anybody who was okay with Fessy getting thrown off this season shouldn't be watching the show anymore, and they shouldn't be casting on the show anymore because you're part of the problem as to why the show has gotten the direction it's gone.
Agreed.
Yeah,
agreed.
That was ridiculous.
Especially with the shit we've seen previously.
Yeah.
So, Paulie, before we close this out, we always want to give you the opportunity to tell people about some of the stuff you're working on, some of the stuff you want people to know about. I know Tenscape's a part of it. I know you're doing some different types of like personal training online. Is that correct as well?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we do it all in this household.
Stay busy.
What I mean? We stay busy, man. So we got the event stuff. That's great. We've got some announcements coming up for the holidays. On the fitness front, I've got announcements coming up on the holidays. Something that people probably don't know about that I've been doing since 2019 is talent management.
Wow.
So and I've kept that a secret for a reason, just because the nature of how the people on our shows get everything. And I don't want anybody to ever feel intimidated or shamed because they work for me. Because at the end of the day, I make them a fuck ton of money, and that's all they give a shit about. And I don't need them to, listen. And like, I'll be announcing that next year, like in a more way where you would see it like from a marketing standpoint and a business standpoint, just because it's at a point where you can't touch what I'm doing. I've already set it in place. I've built it through word of mouth only, the old school way of building businesses, which is how I know how to build businesses, and just delivering on like superior, products. I mean, like I'll never say people that I represent in shows that you've seen them cast it on, but they're out there.
I love it.
And that's it.
Good for you, man.
Yeah,
I love it.
I love seeing, you guys not being just one dimensional, you guys having so many different aspects that you're passionate about and that you're working on. I love it. It's awesome to see. And I love seeing people get what they want and go after what they're passionate about. It's It's a beautiful thing. Without any further ado, I think, we can wrap it up.
Thank you so much, Paulie. Honestly, we can't tell you how much it means that you came on, sat here and hung out with us for a couple hours and just bullshitted about everything. It really means the world. It's been so much fun to meet you. I know we kind of didn't really touch on this, but we've all been long-term challenge fans. Rick and I are also Big Brother fans. Our kids are Big Brother fans. And so like, even when we told them like, hey, we get to meet Paulie from BB18, like our kids were like, what?
Yeah.
So, it means a lot. We really appreciate your time and everything that you were willing to talk to us about. And just thank you, man. Thank you so much.
No, thank you guys. I appreciate y'all's time. I mean, hey, we're all getting up at 5 a.m. tomorrow. So
right.
Oh,
Yeah, I got to work at 6.
Yeah.
Stay on the grind one way.
I appreciate you guys. So yeah, if you guys ever need anything, let me know. It's been cool. It's been fun hanging out. I thought I was going to be asleep an hour ago, but you kept it fun.
I'm glad we didn't bore you too
guys.
much.
We appreciate that. We really do. Holy fuck.
My God.
Was that not fire or what?
That was so fire.
Like I
Holy
had
shit.
30 questions and I think we asked 5 of them.
That was incredible.
2.5 hours.
2.5 hours with Paulie.
Wow.
Awesome.
He gave us a timetable of an hour.
Yeah.
And then we turned it into 2.5 because he just loved
Yeah,
the
he
atmosphere.
even said he had so much fun, like just talking with us, and dude,
Let's do it
wow.
again. Stay in touch.
He even
I
said,
love it.
"Stay in touch." I love it. Oh my gosh, that was so much fun. That was so much fun.
You know what I just realized?
What?
I didn't get to pitch my season 40 idea to him.
Oh my God, we made it through an interview without Rick pitching season 40. Wow.
It's a good thing I'm in his DM. We can message him back and be like, "Hey, we need 10 minutes.
Yo,
We'll turn that into an hour." And
Yeah,
we'll
it'll be another 2-hour
Yeah.
episode.
could you imagine? I mean, because this isn't going to get released. People are going to start to know, but can I talk about who we have a guest, who we're having as a guest Saturday real quick?
I mean, yeah. This will be released before that comes out.
Yeah,
so.
I just find it so fucking cool that we are talking to Paulie and then we're doing a recap with Marlon and then they're going to be doing a live together talking about mental health. I mean,
when is their live? Do you know?
I'm going to have to double check. We'll post the link with this episode.
Yeah, we're gonna
and
post
on all of our pages so nobody misses it.
Yeah, we're going to have links for everything posted down below for everything that Paulie's doing. So,
guys, with that being said, we started this at about 8:20 our time. It's now 11 o'clock. So for myself, my wife, Karina, the beautiful, the sensual Joshua Chambers.
oh God.
We want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. We want to thank Paulie so much for giving us that time. We want to thank Cara for letting Paulie give us extra time past his bedtime.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. We are forever in your debts, and you've earned a new fan.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We hope you guys have a great night, and we'll catch you guys on Tuesday for the recap. Bye.